Welcome back to my channel. I'm still trying to film this reading challenge that my wife gave me for my birthday. Just covering it off. The first book we did was My Brilliant Career, and today I'm talking about Virginia Woolf, Night and Day. Do actually have a notebook here just because I have written notes on things I want to talk about. So I'm just going to have that open just in case I need to refresh myself on what I need to say. This is one of Virginia Woolf's earlier novels, written, actually published in 1919. My third Virginia Woolf novel, and I think this might be the most accessible of her novels. It feels a lot more straightforward, but I think it still has that Virginia Woolf essence. It's really focusing on social elements, especially feminism. And I think while it's kind of a novel about four people and them trying to understand their lives, their what they want to achieve, like their romantic entanglements and all that, I think there's a lot of different elements at play here that Virginia Woolf does, and she does really well. And I love Virginia Woolf's writing. I really find it fascinating. I do find her a lot smarter than me, so when I read a book from her, I wish I could fully understand everything she wants to say. And I think that is something I tend to go for when I'm picking books. I want to learn from people a lot smarter than me. I want to read experiences and ideas and learn from the reader, but I still want to have a great time. So that's why I normally pick fiction over non-fiction. And I think Virginia Woolf has a really interesting book here. I did see somewhere, and I've been thinking about it all day, is this book was written in 1919, and there's no real mention of war, which I found an interesting concept because I think World War One, or the Great War as they would have called it back then, probably changed a lot of people's ideas, a lot of people's views on life and things, and probably really shook things up. So I feel like the lack of war being mentioned, maybe that is a bit of a downfall of the novel, but I think there's some interesting elements here worth checking out. It's just something I've been pondering ever since I heard someone mention it, and I think it's something worth considering. So this is basically the day-to-day lives of four people in particular, two of them being the main focus. Well, probably one I would say would be the main character, and that's Catherine. And she comes from a wealthy background. She is the granddaughter of a well-known poet. So people are always looking at her and thinking, oh, must be great having all that money and all that interest in poetry and stuff like that. But her life, she's more interested in mathematics and astrology. And I find that interesting that people expect her to be really into poetry and literature because of her grandfather, and where she's really has a different set of, or has a different view on life and things like that. And I think that's probably the same for everyone, but I think the way people expect you to be is always an interesting topic to explore in literature and life and everything like that. She's more a solitary person, doesn't really want to do the social thing of getting married and stuff like that. So that plays out with uh, another person, William, who is interested in her, but also interested in her cousin Cassandra. Like he kind of considers Catherine more of someone that has these new ideas of marriage, and where Cassandra is more the Victorian ideas of marriage, and that's who he ends up marrying. Well, spoiler alert, not important, but I think they use these characters to explore these ideas of marriage and how things change and stuff like that. And then you have the second main character I would like to say would be probably Mary, although Ralph might be the second main character, it doesn't really matter. Mary is a daughter of a vicar. She is a suffragette. She is a feminist. She is all these things, but she's still this woman badly in love with Ralph and wanting to be married and wanting to have that almost traditional element of marriage and like juggling those ideas of feminism and marriage and all that. And that I found fascinating and still a relevant topic we could probably discuss nowadays over 100 years later. But you've got Ralph, who's a lawyer. He's seems like a nice guy. He's looking after his widowed mother. He's trying to understand these changing of the new world with marriage and all this kind of thing. He wants to marry Catherine, but eventually realizes that he's actually in love with Mary, although he spends most of the book like thinking of Mary as like a friend, and it always seems weird to me because I married my best friend. I think when people just see someone as a friend, it's like, no, that's a good thing. That's what you want in a partner when you get married. So that's just something that I always look at when I see these people saying, "Oh no, you're just a friend." And it's like, why not marry your friend? I think I covered pretty much all mine. But I found this a fascinating book. I found my brewing career probably a better book, but the similarities in themes I found interesting, and it's probably always going to be a theme that plays out with classics, especially as changes in laws and changes in the way women have the rights to marry or the rights to divorce and stuff like that play out and history changes. So my brilliant career definitely a better book, but Night and Day still an amazing book. Yeah, I think I need to read more Virginia Woolf. So that covers the book. Let's see what I'm reading this month in the 1920s. My wife said she accidentally bought two books for this. So I'll see what I'm reading here. The Well of Loneliness sounds like a fascinating book, and I'm definitely excited to read this. I have seen this book, but I don't know what I'm getting into, so I'm going to really enjoy diving into this one. She did give me another option because she bought two books, and that's The Blue Castle by Alan Montgomery. So I might try and read that a bit later if I have time. This is the author of Anne of Green Gables, so another interesting book, I think, but obviously going to focus on The Well of Loneliness and see how that goes. And I'm interested to see what happens there. Sorry, I just had to read the back a little bit, some lesbian fiction from the 1920s. Sounds like a fun time. Thank you for watching, and please let me know what you think of the books I read so far, and if you read any other Virginia Woolf, please give me some recommendations. I probably will end up reading all her novels. I have read Mrs. Dalloway. I really enjoy. I feel like To the Lighthouse is a book I haven't read for a very long time, but yeah, another example of wow, this woman is way too smart for me. But that's always fun to read. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.